My name is Jessica. I work as a nurse at a general hospital. With night shifts in the mix, it's never been an easy job, but there's a joy like no other in witnessing a patient's recovery. I've lived seriously, working hard. That was my pride. My husband Michael is an architect. Being self-employed, he has flexibility with his time, though when a big project comes in, he sometimes works through weekends. He's kind and devoted to his family. We've been married for 5 years. It was a second marriage for both of us. And then there's Emma, my daughter. She's 7 now, Michael's child from before. When I first met Emma, she was 2 years old. She grabbed my finger with her tiny hand and smiled at me. In that moment, my heart was decided. I would protect this child. I would become her mother. Michael told me about Emma's birth mother when we decided to get married. She disappeared right after giving birth to Emma, he said. I didn't ask why. It seemed pointless. What mattered was now, and the future. Blood ties didn't matter. If there was love, that was enough. Emma calls me Mama. When she comes home from school, she greets me cheerfully at the door with, "I'm home, Mama." Every time I hear that voice, my chest grows warm. I feel it, I am this child's mother. Breakfast time is precious for our family. Michael makes the coffee, I make pancakes, and Emma sets the table. Bathed in the morning sunlight streaming through the windows, we exchange casual conversation. Today's plans, what happened at school, weekend ideas. Work at the hospital is busy but fulfilling. Coordination with colleagues, patient smiles, and when I get home, my beloved family waiting for me. What more could I want? Michael's work seemed to be going well too. Recently he'd been entrusted with a big project, spending more time poring over blueprints. I often saw him sitting on the living room sofa, checking something on his tablet. He looked a bit tired, but I thought that was just proof of his dedication to work. Emma had made lots of friends at school and was doing well enough with her studies. She said art class was her favorite, bringing home colorful pictures every week. Putting them on the refrigerator was one of my pleasures. On weekends, we'd go to the park as a family or go shopping. Watching Michael and Emma walk hand in hand naturally made me smile too. At times like that, I'd think from my heart, I'm happy. I want to protect this family. But recently, something had been bothering me just a little. Michael had been coming home later than usual more often. It seemed like he was spending more time looking at his smartphone too. And sometimes Emma would stare out the window with a vacant expression. But I didn't think it was anything serious. Michael was busy with work. Emma was tired from school. I trusted my family. I never thought to doubt them. Family supports each other no matter what. That was my belief. So I overlooked this small sense of unease. The change had been happening for 3 months. But at the time, I couldn't recognize it as a change. Michael started going to construction sites on weekends, I think it was early September. Saturday morning, drinking coffee, he said, "I'm going to check on a site today." I answered without any particular doubt. "Okay, be careful." It became once a week, then sometimes twice. Checking Michael's schedule in the living room, I asked in a light tone, "Another site? You've been going a lot lately." He answered with a smile. "It's a big project. The client is very particular." I was satisfied. I thought that was just how an architect's work was. I trusted my husband, so I didn't feel the need to press further. But small incidents kept piling up, bit by bit. One night, I was sorting Michael's laundry. When I picked up a white shirt, a scent wafted up. Sweet and a bit heavy perfume. Completely different from the fresh citrus scent I used. I stopped in front of the washing machine and brought my nose close to the shirt collar. Definitely an unfamiliar scent. But I quickly shook my head. Maybe he'd passed someone at a site. A female client, or perhaps a clerk at a building materials store. That could happen easily enough. I stopped thinking deeply about it. A week later, in the middle of the night, I woke up thirsty. Looking at the clock, it was past 2 a.m. Looking at the space next to me in bed, Michael wasn't there. The bedroom door was slightly open, with faint light leaking from the living room. Going into the hallway, I heard Michael's voice. He seemed to be on the phone. Speaking in a hushed but clear voice. Got it. See you next week. A quiet, gentle tone. I stopped at the corner of the hallway. I hesitated about going into the living room. But somehow I felt I shouldn't disturb him. It was a strange feeling. I heard the sound of Michael hanging up. I deliberately made my footsteps heard as I entered the living room. He was sitting on the sofa with his smartphone on his lap. Who were you talking to? I asked, trying to sound normal. Michael turned around, looking a bit surprised. A client. There's a time difference, so it's daytime there. Did I wake you? Sorry. Client. Time difference. The reason was perfect. I nodded and headed to the kitchen. Drinking water, I stared at the darkness outside the window. I shouldn't be suspicious. I must trust my husband. That's what I told myself. But gradually, Michael's smartphone started bothering me. He used to leave it casually on the table, but lately he always kept it in his pocket. Even when there was an incoming call, he wouldn't answer right away. He'd check the screen and say, "I'll call back later." One evening at dinner, Michael's phone rang. The screen lit up on the table. He quickly picked it up, looked at the screen, and turned it face down. "Aren't you going to answer?" I asked, still holding my chopsticks. "It's nothing important," he answered with a smile, but somehow that smile was stiff. The unease stuck in my heart like a small thorn. But I didn't try to pull it out. I felt like if I did, it would bleed. And Emma, too, weighed on my heart. Starting about a month ago, Emma had been acting strange. Even when she came home from school, she didn't have her usual energy. Even while doing homework, she'd stare blankly out the window while holding her pencil. "Emma, what's wrong?" I sat next to her and asked gently. Emma glanced at me for a moment, then immediately looked away. "Nothing." Her voice was thin and weak. At dinner too, Emma barely touched her food. I'd made hamburger, her favorite, but she hardly ate any. "Did something happen at school? Did you fight with a friend?" I asked worriedly. Emma shook her head. It's nothing, Mama." But it was obvious that wasn't true. Emma's eyes were hiding something. Those anxious eyes of a 7-year-old keeping a secret. It was around that time that Emma started having nightmares at night. The first time I heard it was in the middle of the night 2 weeks ago. Suddenly, a scream of "Mama" echoed from the children's room. I jumped up and rushed to Emma's room. Emma was trembling on the bed. She was drenched in sweat, with tear tracks on her cheeks. "It's okay, Emma. Mama's here." I hugged Emma. Her small body clung to me. Her heartbeat was fast, like a frightened little bird. "Did you have a scary dream?" I asked, gently stroking her hair. Emma, her face buried in my chest, nodded slightly. "What kind of dream?" But Emma didn't answer. She just clung to me, trembling. Both my husband and daughter were hiding something. That feeling grew stronger day by day. But at the same time, I was afraid to confirm it. I was scared to know the truth. I felt guilty for doubting my family. In the break room at the hospital, I thought about consulting my colleague Sarah. But I couldn't put it into words. What would I say? My husband comes home late. An unfamiliar perfume smell. A phone call in the middle of the night. My daughter's nightmares. All of it seemed trivial. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe I was too much of a perfectionist. The family is happy. I had to believe that. And then that fateful Saturday came. At breakfast, Michael said as usual, "I'm going to check on a site today." I put down my coffee cup and sighed a little. Again? On a Saturday? Just the morning. "I'll be back soon," Michael answered, looking up from his newspaper. That's when I noticed Emma staring intently at her father. Her expression was different from usual. A gaze as if confirming something, searching for something. "Emma, be a good girl and wait," Michael smiled at his daughter. Emma nodded without saying anything. But there was something in that expression I'd never seen before. After Michael left, the living room fell silent. Emma stood by the window, looking out through a gap in the curtains. And then she murmured softly, really softly. "But Papa's not going to a site." I turned around involuntarily. "What? Did you say something?" Emma quickly shook her head. "Nothing." But her voice was trembling. And in that moment, something inside me snapped. "Emma, let's go shopping," I said, trying to sound cheerful. Emma looked at me and slowly nodded. At 10 a.m., I parked the car in the parking lot of the nearby supermarket. The autumn sunlight was gentle, shoppers being absorbed into the store one after another. An ordinary weekend scene. Leading Emma by the hand, we passed through the entrance. The sound of automatic doors opening, shopping cart wheels squeaking, the melody of store announcements. Everything was routine, reassuring sounds. We passed the vegetable section. Fresh lettuce lined up, tomatoes shining red. Pushing the cart, I was thinking about tonight's dinner. Should I make salad, or maybe steamed vegetables? That's when it happened. Emma suddenly tugged at my sleeve. Hard, with a tense look. "Mama." Her voice was trembling. I stopped and looked down at my daughter. Emma's face had gone pale. "What's wrong?" I bent down to meet Emma's eyes. Emma brought her face close to my ear and whispered. "Isn't that Papa?" A thin finger was pointing ahead. I looked in that direction. Near the meat section, beyond several customers, there was a familiar figure from behind. A navy blue jacket. The clothes he always wore on weekends. Hair with a bit of a cowlick. No mistake. It was Michael. "You're right," I murmured without thinking. My heart started beating faster. But he said he was going to a site. I should call out to him. That's what I thought, taking a step forward. "Michigan," just as I was about to call his name, Emma grabbed my arm tightly. "Wait." Emma's voice had a strength I'd never heard before. I looked at my daughter in surprise. Emma was staring at me intently. Her eyes were serious. "Don't call out to him." "Why?" I was confused. "It's Papa." Not calling out to him. Emma gripped my arm even tighter. "Let's follow him." At those words, I caught my breath. Follow him. My husband. My own family. Follow him, Emma, that's, I chose my words. That kind of thing. Please, Mama. Tears welled up in Emma's eyes. Just please. Looking at my daughter's expression, I fell silent. Emma knew something. She wanted to confirm something. In those eyes were anxiety and also strong determination. I took a deep breath. Doubting my husband. Following him. I'd never even considered such a thing. But Emma's state was not ordinary. My daughter's strange behavior this past month, the nightmares, and this morning's murmur. It all felt connected. Okay, I nodded slightly. Emma breathed a sigh of relief. We hid in the shadow of a display. From there, We watched Michael. Michael was picking up packages of meat. Pork, chicken, beef. Checking each one, putting them in his cart. Quite a lot. More than our family of 3 could finish. Then he moved to the fruit section. 5 apples, 6 oranges, 2 bunches of bananas. All going into the cart. Selecting them carefully. Buying so much, I murmured. For whom? We had fruit at home. I just bought some yesterday. Why so much again? Michael headed to the dairy section. 2 cartons of milk, a pack of eggs, 3 loaves of bread. All selecting the freshest looking items. We still had them in the refrigerator. Milk, eggs, bread. Why was he buying the same things? Anxiety swelled in my chest. This isn't for us. It's for someone else. Emma silently watched her father. Her profile was surprisingly calm. As if she'd expected this. Michael headed to the register. We followed at a distance, blending in with other shoppers. Pretending to push a cart while not losing sight of my husband. After checking out, Michael carried 2 large paper bags out to the parking lot. We hurried after him. Gripping Emma's hand, hiding behind other cars. The parking lot was large, cars lined up neatly. Michael was walking toward where our car was. The black SUV, our family car. But that was wrong. Michael walked past our car. Walking in the opposite direction. I caught my breath. Where was he going? Michael stopped. At the edge of the parking lot, in front of an old white sedan. An unfamiliar car. The passenger door slowly opened. From inside, a woman showed her face. I froze. The woman looked to be in her late 30s. But she was pathologically thin. Her cheekbones protruded, with deep shadows under her eyes. A scarf was wrapped around her head. Hair loss from chemotherapy, perhaps. Michael smiled gently. That gentle smile I knew. He handed the paper bags to the woman. The woman received them with trembling hands. The 2 were talking about something. Too far away to hear their voices. But their manner was intimate. Michael placed his hand on the woman's shoulder. The woman bowed her head. Her shoulders were shaking. She was crying. Michael gently reached out to the woman's cheek. Wiping away tears. That gesture was so natural, so familiar, my heart shattered with an audible crack. An affair. My husband, with another woman. My knees trembled. My vision distorted. Tears overflowed. I tried to hold them back but couldn't stop them. I knew it, I murmured in a voiceless voice. Then, beside me, Emma made a small sound. That person. I looked at my daughter. Emma's face had gone white. Her lips trembled, her hands shook. That person is the letter person. What? I wiped my tears. Letter. Emma, what are you talking about? Emma didn't answer. She just stared at that woman. And suddenly, she crouched down on the spot. Mama, I'm sorry, Emma started crying. I'm sorry. Emma, what do you mean? I put my arms around Emma's shoulders. What letter? Do you know that person? Emma just kept crying. Her small body trembling, clinging to me. Across the parking lot, Michael was getting in the car. The sound of the white sedan's engine starting could be heard. The car slowly began to move. Michael's black SUV followed. The 2 cars left the parking lot. Emma and I were left behind. Around us, other shoppers were coming and going. The sound of pushing carts, children's laughter, car engines. Everything was the same weekend scene as usual. But our world was no longer the same. I cried while holding my daughter. Emma was crying too. Neither of us understood why the other was crying. The car ride home was wrapped in silence. Emma sat small in the back seat. Occasionally, I heard the sound of her sobbing. I wiped away tears many times while driving. My vision blurred, the colors of traffic lights looking hazy. We came home without buying anything from our shopping trip. The cart was left empty at the store entrance. Right now, I couldn't think about food. When we got home and got out of the car, Emma rushed into the house without saying anything. As if even taking off her shoes was too much trouble, she headed to her room. The sound of the door closing echoed. I collapsed onto the living room sofa. Strength drained from my body. In my head, that scene played on repeat. Michael's gentle smile. The woman's tears. The hand placed on her shoulder. The fingers wiping her cheek. Why? What had I been lacking? For 5 years, I'd worked hard to support the family. Even exhausted from night shifts, I never neglected the housework. I'd loved Emma like my own daughter. I thought I'd done my best as a wife to Michael too. And yet, looking at the clock, it was past 1 p.m. Michael had said just the morning. He'd be home soon. What should I say? What expression should I wear? At 2 p.m., I heard the sound of the front door opening. I'm home. That usual voice. That usual smile. Michael came into the living room. Taking off his jacket, he smiled at me. I stood up from the sofa. I looked straight at him. I didn't put on a smile. Michael's expression changed. He seemed to sense something. We need to talk. My voice was cold. Even I was surprised by how cold. Jessica. Michael said my name carefully. What? I saw you today. The color drained from Michael's face. Where? The supermarket. Silence fell. Long, heavy silence. Michael looked away from me. You said you were going to a site. I took a step closer. But you were at the supermarket. Buying a huge amount of groceries. Jessica, that was. Who was that woman? Michael didn't answer. He just stood there with his head down. Answer me. I shouted. A voice so loud it surprised even me. Who was that woman? Michael covered his face with both hands. And slowly sat down on the sofa. Holding his head. I'll explain, his voice was trembling. It's an affair, isn't it? I said coldly. Tears overflowed again. What else could it be? No. Michael looked up. His eyes were red. It's not that, Jessica. Then what is it? I shouted. So gentle, so familiar. Wiping away tears. Who is that person? Michael took a deep breath. Over and over. And then, in a trembling voice, he said. That was Emma's birth mother. I froze. I couldn't understand the meaning of the words. What? Lisa. Michael looked up. Tears were running down his cheeks. The person who gave birth to Emma. My head went completely blank. Emma's birth mother. The one who was supposed to have disappeared. The one I thought we'd never see again. But you, I said in a trembling voice. You said she disappeared. I did say that, Michael nodded. But she came back. When? 3 months ago. 3 months ago. The time when Michael's behavior started becoming strange. Everything connected. Michael started talking. Choosing his words carefully, slowly. 3 months ago, Lisa suddenly contacted him. On the phone, in a trembling voice, she said she had terminal cancer. That she had only months to live. After giving birth to Emma, she found out she was sick. Michael closed his eyes. It was early-stage cancer. But she refused treatment. She didn't want to show her daughter a sick mother. Lisa left Emma behind and disappeared. Without telling Michael anything. And for 7 years, she lived alone. But the disease progressed, Michael's voice caught. It was too late. She begged to see Emma just once before dying. I was at a loss for words. Not an affair. But something even more complicated. Why didn't you tell me? I asked in a trembling voice. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't want to hurt you, Michael looked at me. You love Emma like your own daughter. If Lisa appeared, how would you feel? Me? I shook my head. Or her? Both, Michael answered. Lisa is all alone in the world. No family, no friends, no one. She'll die alone in a hospital bed. So you were secretly meeting her? Delivering groceries? Michael nodded. She can't even go shopping on her own anymore. Her body's too weak. I sat down on the sofa. I held my head. Why didn't you tell me? I said while crying. Why did you carry this alone? I'm sorry, Michael was crying too. I'm truly sorry. I'm Emma's mother, I shouted. For 5 years, I've raised her. Loved her. But I'm not her real mother. Jessica. I can't compete with the birth mother, I covered my face. No matter how much I love her, no matter how much I devote myself, I didn't give birth to Emma. That's not true, Michael placed his hand on my shoulder. You are Emma's mother. More than anyone. At that moment, footsteps were heard from the stairs. We turned around. Emma was coming down. Clutching a letter in her hand. Her face was wet with tears. Mama, Emma's voice was trembling. This. I reached out my hand. Emma placed the letter in my hand. The envelope was cheap, slightly dirty. I opened it. Inside was a single sheet of letter paper. Written in childish handwriting. But written by an adult. The hand holding the pen must have been trembling. The characters were distorted. I started reading. To Emma. I am the person who gave birth to you. But your mama is the person who is with you now. Tears overflowed, the characters blurred. I am sick and will die soon. But I was happy to see you. I clutched the letter. I am grateful to your mama. Thank you for loving her. Lisa. I held the letter to my chest. The tears wouldn't stop. Emma came in front of me. Small hands touched my knees. Mama, Emma's voice trembled. A month ago, I met that person. On the way home from school. I looked at Emma. I got a letter. She told me she was my real mama. Emma was crying. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't tell you, Mama. I hugged Emma. Tight, tight. It's okay, Emma. I stroked my daughter's hair. It's okay. The three of us, in the living room, held each other and cried. All night, I kept thinking. Even lying in bed, my eyes remained wide awake. I could tell Michael wasn't sleeping either next to me. Both of us stared at the ceiling. Morning came. Light streaming through the window extended thinly through a gap in the curtains. I got up from bed. Going down to the living room, Michael had already made coffee. We sat facing each other. I want to meet Lisa, I said quietly. Michael looked at me with a surprised face. Really? For Emma's sake, I nodded. And for my own sake too. That afternoon, the three of us visited Lisa's apartment. Second floor of an old building, walking down a narrow hallway, Michael stopped in front of one door. He knocked. A weak voice came from inside. Come in. Opening the door, a small room was visible. There was a bed by the window, and Lisa was lying there. She was even thinner than when I saw her in the supermarket parking lot. Her cheeks were deeply sunken, only her eyes looking large. The skin peeking out from under the scarf was pale. "Jessica," Lisa smiled weakly. "Thank you for coming." I sat next to her bed. I didn't know what to say. I just held her thin hand. A hand that was like just bone and skin. "Emma," Lisa's voice trembled. "Thank you, truly." Tears ran down her cheeks. "That child looks so happy," Lisa looked at me. "Thanks to you." I'm the one. I searched for words. I'm grateful to Emma. That child made me a mother. Emma sat on the opposite side of the bed. Lisa reached out with a trembling hand and touched Emma's cheek. "You've gotten so big," Lisa smiled. "And so beautiful." "You gave birth to me," Emma said in a small voice. "Yes," Lisa nodded. "You were my treasure." "Thank you," Emma said while shedding tears. "For giving birth to me." Lisa sobbed. Her small body trembling, crying out loud. Michael, me, Emma, we were all crying. From that day, we visited Lisa twice a week. We brought home-cooked meals, cleaned the room, and listened to her stories. Little by little, Lisa told us about when Emma was a baby. 2 weeks later, one morning, I got a call from Michael. "Lisa," his voice was trembling. "This morning, peacefully in her sleep." The funeral was small. Only the 3 of us attended. In the cold wind of late autumn, Lisa went to sleep quietly. Emma placed a bouquet of flowers in front of the gravestone. White chrysanthemums. "Goodbye," Emma murmured softly. "Lisa mama." I put my arms around Emma's shoulders. "You were loved by 2 mamas." "Yeah," Emma nodded. "I know." 3 months passed. Little by little, laughter returned to the house. The wall between Michael and me also disappeared with time. I forgave him for lying. He was trying to do the right thing. One night, peeking into Emma's room, I saw 2 photos lined up on the desk. One was a photo of Emma and me. From last summer when we went to the beach. Both of us smiling, covered in sand. The other was a photo of Lisa. An old one Michael had, from before she got sick, Lisa with a healthy smile. "Good night, Emma," I called out from the door. "Good night, Mama," Emma showed her face from the bed. Then, she waved her hand slightly toward the 2 photos. "Good night, Lisa Mama." I smiled outside the door. What is a real family? It's not blood. It's not the length of time spent together. It's unconditional love. And hearts that care for each other. Lisa loved Emma. Despite only 1 childbirth and 7 years of absence, her love never changed. I love Emma too. Even without blood ties, I am this child's mother. And that is enough. Walking down the stairs, I placed my hand on my chest. There was something warm there. Pain, sadness, but at the same time, deep peace. In the living room, Michael was reading a book. When I entered, he looked up and smiled. I smiled back. Family is here. In this warm place. And no one can destroy that.